Hello and welcome to the CDOMagazine interview series. I'm Maria Espona with ArgIQ, and we are partnering with CDOMagazine, MIT, CDOIQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Alejandro Correa, Chief Artificial Intelligence at Rappi Colombia. Welcome, Alejandro.
Hi, Maria. Thank you for inviting me.
I have a series of questions for you, and the first one, it's related to the implementation of artificial intelligence in Latin America. So in which extent do you think the artificial intelligence is implemented in our region?
So it's quite interesting that there is actually a report by The Economist that came out earlier this year. And what we have been seeing is that a lot of countries already have like a AI specific public policy. So you see these reports from Argentina, Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Brazil, defining what is their AI strategy toward the country, towards the future, how they're planning to invest. And so it's quite interesting to see from these, let's say, public entities already so much interest into starting to create this whole this whole ground to allow us to then from the industry to start using more AI. So getting back to your question, so we are seeing in the last couple of years countries creating policies specific towards allowing more usage of AI. And then on the other hand, you are seeing a lot of tech startups that have been doing AI for the last couple of years, already showing amazing results. So you have tech unicorns like Mercado Libre, Rappi, Nubank, each one of them having very, very strong AI capabilities, doing a lot of different things, from pricing of e-commerce products towards trying to solve some of the logistic issues in Latam with advanced tech and, of course, AI. And it's quite interesting. Lastly, the more traditional, let's say, industries and the more traditional companies are starting to realize that on one hand, they see their governments trying to push the usage of AI. Then you see the tech startups using actively a lot of AI tools. So they are realizing the need towards stop thinking about AI as just, let's say, a linear improvement of business intelligence, but actually something that have more deeper consequences in their business models, in how they are using their data, and they are starting to invest in this. This is quite new. I'll say that there are definitely some good examples across Latam, but in general, the traditional industry is in a moment in which they are realizing the importance into starting to invest further into AI, but we are just waiting probably for next year to start seeing like a more broader adoption and actually results from all of these initiatives. So overall, I think that is probably the right moment, and we definitely have to start, let's put it, seizing this opportunity in the whole region.
And what do you see? Because you mentioned that several companies are starting to include AI as part of their way of working. Do you see that the biggest or traditional companies, as you mentioned before, are changing the model of the business model towards this, the big ones, or what happens with the middle and small companies? Do you see a tendency there, or only these unicorns that you mentioned?
So leaving apart the unicorns, in other parts of the industries, you're having these very big old companies that are starting to shifting their focus into how to actually use AI. My experience is that traditional companies started some years ago, like trying to create AI strategies in the same way they tried to develop big data strategies 10 years ago. And that is not working. So you are seeing, like, for example, in Mexico, one of the biggest conglomerates, they decided to actually create an AI consultancy, take out every single data science that they had in their 15 plus companies inside the conglomerate, put every single data scientist into a new AI startup, and then giving giving services towards the rest of the conglomerate. It's something actually that is right now happening in Colombia as well, with the second biggest business conglomerate. They are trying to do something quite similar, and I'm starting to hear that kind of idea. So it's quite interesting, because let's put it, with the big data initiatives of 10 years ago, you will see these big banks with these big retailers just trying to develop that in-house, hiring a lot of some consultants, creating those capabilities in-house. With AI, they are actually doing a different approach. And the example of the biggest conglomerate in Mexico and the second biggest in Colombia is quite interesting on this different approach towards taking the value out of AI.
It's a new question, but do you think that there is the experts, the talent is out there to work in this environment, this new environment? Because what we were discussing this morning, because of next week's event, is that even when you have more demand than the one that you can provide, there is not many students or people ready to work in AI.
So that's a very interesting point. In every single AI policy from the countries that have already published one, the first thing they mention is talent. I particularly was part of previous Colombian government council on AI, and the first thing that we have to deal with was, how do we allow to create policies that allow us to have more talent? The reality is that we are having issues creating this talent pool, and even further being able to keep it working in the region. Right now, we are seeing a lot of international companies, mostly from North America, finding this very good AI talent with good level of English, and just hiring them either remotely or actually like bringing to North America. So that's a big challenge, because then we are having the best qualified people that we have right now are actually receiving a lot of offers from Europe and from the States. So right now we really need to keep investing into this. Definitely there are several initiatives by several governments into how to provide a broader part of the population basic training in AI, how to get a lot of recent engineering graduates from a lot of different engineers schools to okay, let's train them into how they can use their skills with some additional classes, and then being able to actually perform in AI. So right now we're in that moment in which we have a deficit of talent, but this is something that probably if you asked me this question 2 years ago, I will have told you that and no one is doing anything about it. But right now, governments are actually investing into making sure that by 2030 and probably hopefully 2025, we are going to have this good talent already in the region. Might be a lot of junior talent, but nevertheless, I think that we are moving into the right direction.
Thank you so much, Alejandro. I really enjoyed this interview, this time we spent together. So thank you for joining me today, and please visit CDOMagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you, Alejandro.
Thank you, Maria.